To start, you have your side skirt panels, front and back skirt panels, shorts front and back, bodice with mane and lining, back band, and the back bodice with mane and lining. Lay the main front bodice piece facing up, take your main back bodice pieces right sides together and sew at the shoulder seams. You're going to repeat this with the main pieces and the lining pieces. Take your main piece, lay it right sides facing up. Take your lining piece, you're going to put them right sides together, matching up the seams at the shoulders, and you're going to sew the arm size of both sides and the neckline. This is now what your bodice should look like. You're going to take the back pieces and flip it through itself. Lay the bodice flat so you can see the back pieces. You're going to now sew this little half circle right sides together on both sides. When I sew the half circle, I like to pull it into a straight line as it makes it easier to sew. You're now going to flip both of those pieces right sides out. Once you've got both sides flipped right side out, this is the step where you would top stitch the neckline, but I forgot to show that, so you can either choose to do that or leave that step out. This is what your back should now look like. I like to keep the tails long for those pieces, and I'll show you why in a later step. You're now going to make the little hole on the left side. You're going to sew the mane to itself, which would be my purple. You're going to line up the seams at the center, keep sewing across to the lining, which would be my mint, and then you're going to flip it right sides out and you'll see what it looks like. This is where the little strings come in handy. When I get to the center, I like to use them to kind of pull the seam alongside itself, as this step can be a little bit tricky. You now have your first hole created on the left side. You're now going to take the right side and you're going to thread it through the hole. Make sure everything is lined up properly, as you don't want anything to get twisted. You're now going to do the same step that you did on the other side to this side to create the other hole. Make sure to keep those tails long if you would like to use them to pull that center seam a little bit. So you're going to attach the mane to itself, sewing across, making your little hole with the seam at the center, and sewing across all the way to the lining. You can pin as much or as little as you'd like for all of these steps, but I prefer not to use a lot of pins, but they are very helpful. Now it's time to close off the sides of the bodice, so you're going to do similar steps to what you just did. You're going to sew the lining pieces together, meeting at the seam, and going all the way to the mane. Make sure to repeat this step on both sides. This next step is optional, and this is where I'm top stitching the armholes. And here is your completed bodice. Time for the shorts. Lay your pieces right sides together and sew the crotch seam. Once you've done this, open them up, lay them right sides together, and you're going to sew the sides and the inseam. Next is to hem both leg holes with a 3/4 of an inch hem, and you'll have finished shorts. Next is the skirt. So take one of your side pieces, lay it right sides facing up, put one of your front or back pieces facing right sides together, sew the seam, repeat with the other side panel, sew that seam, make sure they're all right sides together. You're going to repeat it one more time with one of your front or back pieces, sew that seam. Now you have all of those pieces connected. You're going to take them, put them right sides together so you can finish off the half circle skirt and sew that last seam. The next step is to hem the bottom of your skirt with a 3/4 inch hem. The last thing you need is your back band. You're going to fold in half right sides together and sew the short sides. Now grab your shorts, decide which side you want to be the front and which side is the back. Same with the skirt. The front and back panels are the narrow panels, so decide which side you like better. The side panels should be the wide panels. So take your shorts, set them inside the skirt, line up the center seam of the shorts with the center of the main panel. Repeat with the back side, center seam to the center of the panel. Now you're going to grab your bodice, flip it inside out and upside down, making sure you have the front with the front of the skirt that you just attached together. Put the entire skirt and shorts inside of the bodice. Now I'm going to line up the side seam of the shorts and the skirt with the side seam of the bodice and pin that in place. I'm going to repeat that with the other side, the side seam of the shorts and the skirt with the side seam of the bodice. Pin in place. Move to the front, and I like to pin the center of the bodice to the center of the skirt and shorts. With the back, you're just going to lay the back piece flat. You don't need to pull it tight or anything. Pin it in place. And then you're going to want to pay attention to the spaces where you see the mint and the blue. You want to make sure those are even. Take your back band, flip it right sides out, find the center of the back band. I like to mark it with a pin. You're going to attach that to the center back of the skirt, and then line up the points of the center of the back band with the side seams of the bodice. You're going to sew around the top edge to enclose everything. When you sew off that back band, you're going to trim that little edge as you sew. And now you have a finished dress. Here is how the back band is attached. You can see those little edges were trimmed off. Flip it right sides out and you're done.